Image prompt: a dimly lit corporate boardroom in a towering New York skyscraper at midnight. Rain-streaked windows reflecting the neon glow of Times Square below. A single flickering desk lamp illuminates a scattered pile of confidential documents on a mahogany table. One overlooked file folder slightly ajar amid the chaos, casting long shadows over an empty leather chair that hints at a recent, urgent departure. Realistic cinematic style. High contrast. No violence or gore, evoking tension and corporate intrigue. I never thought dying would feel like this, like slipping into someone else's skin. Warm and heavy, with a pulse that wasn't mine hammering against my ribs. The last thing I remembered was the cold steel of the prison bars closing in, the judge's gavel cracking like a gunshot, and my own voice, raw and broken, swearing I'd make them pay for framing me. But when my eyes snapped open in that sterile hospital bed, staring back at me from the polished mirror across the room was the face of Victor Hale, the smug bastard who'd ruined my life. And the first words out of my mouth, in his polished Wall Street drawl, "Holy shit. It worked. It was supposed to be a routine audit." Me. Margaret Voss, 34. Single mom scraping by on a mid-level accounting gig at Hale and Associates in the heart of Manhattan. I'd clawed my way up from community college night classes while my ex-husband bailed on diaper duty. All to keep my daughter, Lily, in that crappy Queens apartment with heat that actually worked. Victor was the Golden Boy CEO. Silver-tongued shark in a $1,000 suit. The kind of guy who quoted Ayn Rand at board meetings and had his name etched on every donor plaque from here to the Hamptons.
We'd been
close.
Once.
Not lovers. God no, that would have been career suicide, but confidants. Late nights poring over spreadsheets. Him buying the cheap Merlot. Me pretending his hand on my shoulder didn't linger too long. He called me his secret weapon, the one who spotted the numbers that didn't add up. Irony, right? Turns out, I was his perfect scapegoat. The $10 million certification was for a government contract, clean energy tech, the kind that greased palms in D.C. and lined pockets in Midtown. It was Hale and Associates' golden ticket, a digital seal of approval worth billions in future deals. I found the discrepancy on a Tuesday, a ghost entry. Siphoned funds rerouted through offshore shells. 24 hours later, it was gone. Vanished like smoke. The feds swarmed the office, badges flashing under fluorescent lights. And Victor? He stood there in the conference room, eyes wide with feigned shock, pointing the finger straight at me. "Margaret's been handling the finals," he said, voice steady as a surgeon's scalpel. "She's the only one with that level of access."
Lies.
All of it. I'd trusted him with everything. My doubts about the merger. My fears for Lily's future when the chemo bills piled up after her leukemia scare 2 years back. He'd even helped me negotiate the insurance payout. His arm around my shoulders at the funeral for my mom, whispering, "We've got this."
Mags.
Family sticks together. Family. What a joke. The trial was a circus, prosecutors painting me as the desperate single mom cooking books for a quick score. My public defender snoring through depositions. Evidence? Emails I'd never sent. Timestamps fudged on my login. Victor testified. Collar popped just so, looking every inch the grieving mentor. "She was brilliant," he said, dabbing his eyes. But brilliance can twist. The jury bought it.
10 years.
Minimum security in upstate New York. Lily went to foster care. I shattered. Prison was hell's waiting room, gray walls leaching color from your soul. The clang of gates like a death knell. I spent nights staring at the bunk above me, replaying every what if. What if I'd copied that backup drive? What if I'd told HR about his wandering hands? But mostly, what if I could trade places with him? Just for a day. To watch his empire crumble from the inside? Turns out, the universe has a sick sense of humor. It started with Dr. Elias Crow, the prison shrink with eyes like chipped obsidian, and a funding grant from some black-budget pharma outfit. Experimental therapy, he called it, slipping me pamphlets on neural mapping and consciousness transfer. For trauma victims. Helps you detach. Bullshit. But anything to numb the ache. They wired me up in the med wing, electrodes kissing my temples, for drip humming like a hornet's nest. Victor was there too. Or so the orderly let slip. He'd been in a car accident the night before my session. High on coke and bad decisions. They said.
Coma.
I didn't connect the dots until the machine whirred to life. And suddenly, I wasn't in my body anymore. Waking up as him was violation incarnate. His penthouse overlooking Central Park. Sheets silkier than anything I'd touched in years. His reflection. Chiseled jaw. Salt and pepper hair. The kind of face that closed deals over steak at Delmonico's. I touched it, my hands, his hands, feeling the stubble rasp under unfamiliar fingers. Panic clawed up my throat, but I swallowed it down. This wasn't a dream. The news ticker on his wall screen blared it. Hale and Associates CEO Victor Hale miraculously recovers from coma, back at helm. Recovers.
Right.
And somewhere, in a bed that smelled like bleach and regret, my body, Victor's mind, was waking up to bars and bad coffee. I rifled through his drawers first, heart pounding like a bass drum in a dive bar. Rolexes, cufflinks, a drawer of Polaroids from Vegas team-building trips, women who were his wife, lines of powder on glass tops. Then, the safe, combination his wedding date, the cheating prick. Inside, the $10 million certification digital key fob, encrypted drive. And the file they missed, a single thumb drive labeled contingency. Plugged it into his laptop. Password his kid's birthday, the one he never saw. Jackpot. Emails, wire transfers, voice memos. Victor hadn't just framed me, he'd built an empire on it. The funds? Funneled to a slush fund for senators. Bribes for zoning boards. I'd signed off on nothing. But he'd forged my digital sig, buried the trail under layers of shell core. The betrayal hit like a freight train, not just professional, but personal. One memo. Time-stamped the night mom died. Mags needs cash for the kid. Leverage? He'd dangled the insurance help like bait. Reeled me in, then gutted me. Rage boiled over. Hot and righteous. I dressed in his Brooks Brothers armor, crisp white shirt. Power tie knotted with hands that shook. Down to the garage. Keys to the Bentley biting into my palm. The drive to the office was a blur. Cabs honking in gridlock. The Hudson glittering like fool's gold under sodium lamps. Hale and Associates loomed at One Penn Plaza. Glass facade mocking the ants below. Security buzzed me through Victor Hale. After all, the elevator ride was eternity. Floors ticking up like a countdown to detonation. Floor 42, open plan purgatory. Analysts hunched over screens like penitents. His assistant, Carla Blonde, efficient, complicit, jumped up. Mr. Hale, we weren't expecting. I cut her off with a smile. The one that said all good. Coffee.
Black.
And pulled a Voss file. Loose ends. Her eyes flickered. Guilt? Fear? She nodded, scurrying off. I locked the office door, blinds slanting shadows across the credenza. The city sprawled below, a concrete jungle where predators like him thrived.
By noon,
I'd emailed the board. Anonymous tip. Attachments from the thumb drive. Irregularities in Q3 audit. Scene closed.
then,
The feds, same number I'd memorized from my arraignment. This is Victor Hale. I need to come in. Carla knocked. I let her in, watched her pour the coffee with trembling hands. Everything okay? Sir? I sipped, tasting his privilege, bitter. Overpriced. Never better.
tell me,
Carla, how's that beach house fund coming? She paled. Yeah. She knew. The afternoon blurred into strategy. I couldn't just burn it down. That was too quick. Too merciful. No. This was personal. Victor me. Now had taken my daughter. My freedom. My name dragged through tabloids as the queen of fraud. Desperate mom steals millions for sick kid, the Post screamed. I'd make him feel that fracture. Inch by inch. First call, to Lily's foster home. Voice cracking in his timbre.
this is.
An uncle. Just checking in. The social worker's voice. Weary, she's adjusting. Quiet girl.
Quiet.
My firecracker. Silenced. I hung up. Fists clenched till knuckles whitened. Evening fell like a guillotine. Board meeting at 8. The oak-paneled war room where deals died and were reborn. I strode in. Victor's swagger masking my limp from prison yard fights. Suits nodded. Deferential. Victor. Glad you're back. The Voss fallout. I waved it off. Handled. But we've got bigger fish. Projector hummed. I loaded the drive. Slides bloomed. The slush fund. The bribes. My forged sig circled in red. Gasps rippled.
This is.
Damning, the chairman muttered. Face ashen as old newsprint. Who leaked it? Someone hissed. I leaned in. Victor's eyes, my eyes cold. Does it matter? We're exposed. Chaos erupted. Calls to lawyers. Accusations flying like shrapnel. I sat back, watching it unfold. The sweet rot of their panic. By 10, the SEC was en route. Warrants inbound. Victor's empire. Cracking at the seams. But revenge isn't a sprint. It's a marathon through moral quicksand. That night, in his king-sized bed, silk whispering against skin that itched with wrongness, I dreamed of Lily's laugh before the needles. Before him. Waking, I traced the scar on my wrist from a boyhood fall. His life, handed to me on a silver platter. What would I do with it?
Destroy?
Or steal it whole? The next morning, headline screamed, Hale and Associates in turmoil, insider sabotage. I smiled into his bathroom mirror, teeth gleaming. Phase 1, complete. But the real fun? Just beginning. The fallout hit like a nor'easter off the Atlantic, swift, unrelenting, stripping everything bare. By dawn, Victor's inbox was a war zone, frantic voicemails from investors. The chairman's curt, "We need to talk," and a ping from the feds confirming my voluntary interview at 2 p.m. I showered in his rainhead fixture, steam fogging the glass, scrubbing away the phantom itch of prison jumpsuits. His body moved like a well-oiled machine, tall, commanding, the kind that parted crowds at happy hours. But inside, it was me, Margaret Voss, the ghost in the machine, plotting the unmaking of a king. Breakfast was a farce, espresso from his Nespresso pod. A croissant airlifted from some French patisserie. Eaten alone at a granite island that could seat 12.
His wife,
Elena, was in Milan for charity galas, her absence a cold spot in the king-sized bed. No kids. Victor had opted out early. Calling progeny distractions from the grind. Selfish to the core. I scrolled his contacts, senators, starlets, a bookie in Atlantic City. Leverage everywhere. But one name stopped me cold, Dr. Elias Crow. The shrink. A text from last night. Transfer stable. Monitor for dissonance.
dissonance.
That's one way to put it. I dressed for battle. Zegna's suit. Hermes tie. The armor of the elite. The Bentley purred through midtown traffic. Horns a symphony of urban rage. Penn Plaza, again. But this time, whispers trailed me like smoke. Analysts averted eyes. Carla handed over the Voss file with hands like ice. Inside, my mugshot clipped to the judgment. Lily's photo tucked in the margin, candid. Gap-toothed grin at 6. My throat tightened. Burn it, I told Carla. Voice low. She hesitated. Sir, you heard me. And if you breathe a word, I let Victor's glare do the rest. She nodded, scurrying like a roach. The boardroom was a tomb when I arrived. Empty chairs. Coffee rings staining the table like bloodstains. The chairman, Harlan Graves, 70. Paunchy. Owner of half the waterfront, paced by the windows. Victor. What the hell is this? He thrust a tablet at me. The leaked slides glowing accusatory. I feigned confusion, brows furrowing just so. Harlan. I woke up to the same shitshow. Someone's gunning for us. We hashed it. Spin the narrative. Blame a disgruntled ex-employee me. In absentia. Voss, he spat. That bitch is rotting. But her ghost is haunting. If only he knew.
By noon.
PR firms were on speed dial. Crafting denial slick as oil. I played the part. Outraged leader. Rallying the troops in an all-hands email. We've weathered storms before. This is no different. Lies. All of it. But they ate it up. Power's a drug. Victor had mainlined it for years. Lunch was skipped, stomach churning with unfamiliar acid reflux. His vice catching up. Instead, I slipped into the server room. Badge swiping silent. Tex nodded. The king had entered. Backup tapes. Firewalls. Child's play for a woman who'd balanced books blindfolded. I planted seeds. Metadata tweaks. Timestamps aligning the fraud to Victor's IP. By the time I left, the digital trail led straight to his doorstep. The federal building on Varick Street was a concrete bunker. Agents in off-the-rack suits eyeing me like fresh meat. Special Agent Ruiz, Latina firebrand with a no-bullshit stare, led me to an interrogation room that smelled of stale donuts and desperation. Mr.
Hale.
Thanks for coming in. I sat, legs crossed, projecting calm. Anything for the firm. They laid it out, the leak, the discrepancies, questions probing like scalpels. Any enemies? Disgruntled staff. I dropped the bait slow. Margaret Voss. She always harbored resentment. But she's locked up. Ruiz's eyes narrowed. Convenient. We've got anomalies in the audit logs, your access. Post-disappearance of the cert. I blinked. Victor's shock mask perfect. Mine? That's impossible. I was in a coma. They bought the outrage. but not the innocence. We'll need your devices, Ruiz said, logging my phone. I handed it over. His heart, thudding. Buried in the cloud, a folder called Personal, with photos of Lily I'd never seen. Victor. Stalking? No. Insurance. He'd kept tabs, used her illness as leverage in his forgery game. For the kid, one note read,
Bastard.
I left with a shadow tail, the weight of eyes on my back. Evening brought Elena home, private jet glamour, Louboutins clicking on marble. She air-kissed my cheek, perfume cloying as regret. Darling, the headlines. Are you okay? Her concern was rehearsed, eyes flicking to her reflection in the hall mirror. Over dinner, foie gras from some Michelin star ghost kitchen, we danced the tango of facades. It's Voss, I said, swirling Cabernet. Her final fuck you. Elena's laugh tinkled like breaking glass. That mousy accountant?
Please.
You always said she was harmless. Harmless. The word ignited something feral. Later, in bed, her hand on my chest, I rolled away. Headache.
She sighed.
Scrolling Instagram. Victor's life, hollow as a drum. Midnight confession. I called Crow from a burner app on his laptop.
Doctor. It's me.
Voss. Silence. Then a chuckle like gravel. Fascinating. The dissonance is minimal. He explained. Clinical as a mortician. Neural bridge. DARPA-funded Black Ops for asset recovery. Victor's coma overlapped my session. The machine bridged the gap. Temporary. He said weeks. Maybe months. Reversible? If you want. I didn't. Keep it permanent.
His paws stretched.
Ethics aside. The funding dries up without data. Blackmail. From the mad scientist.
Fine.
I'd feed him scraps. Phase 2 launched at dawn. The personal gut punch. I wired funds, Victor's slush money, to Lily's trust. Anonymous. Enough for Ivy League, and then some. Then, the call to her foster mom, Margaret Voss speaking. Tell my daughter I'm coming home. Gasps. Questions. I hung up. Tears hot on his cheeks. Next. The media. A tip to the Times. Hale framed innocent woman. Insider docs prove it. By lunch. It trended. Free Margaret Voss. Activists chaining themselves to Penn Plaza gates. Victor, trapped in my body. My cell, must have felt the quake. Prison logs later showed a meltdown, screams about imposters, solitary lockdown.
Good.
Let him taste the isolation. The way guards leer and meals congeal. But doubt crept in. A worm in the apple. Was this justice or just vengeance? Elena noticed at cocktails that night. Her martini olive skewered like a shish kebab.
You're different.
Softer. I laughed it off. But inside, Margaret Voss warred with the man I'd become. Power corrupted. I felt its pull. The ease of command. The thrill of secrets. The climax brewed that Friday. Gala at the Met. Black-tie vipers slithering through gilded halls. I arrived solo. Elena on my arm like a trophy. Flashbulbs popped, whispers hissed. Victor. Over here. I posed. Jaw set.
Inside.
The drive burned in my pocket, the full contingency file. Unredacted. Senators glad-handed. Donors preened. Harlan cornered me by the Egyptian wing. The board's fracturing. Resign. Or we vote you out. Ultimatum. I smiled, slow as molasses. One more toast.
Harlan.
To loose ends. In the coat room, shadows thick as ink. I cornered him. Remember Voss? The loose end. His bluff cracked. What are you? I pressed play on the phone, his voice. Memo from the drive. Voss takes the fall. Clean. Face drained of color.
He wheezed.
Blackmail? You wouldn't.
Oh.
I would. Resign instead. Or this goes viral. He slunk away, tail between legs. But the real storm hit at midnight. Elena's gala gown pooling like spilled ink as she confronted me in our suite. Who are you? She'd found the burner. The calls to Lily. Panic surged, fight or flight in a body built for boardrooms. Elena. Listen, she slapped me, palms stinging on stubble. Victor's an asshole.
But you're
Broken. Tears. Accusations. The mask slipped, I confessed. Words tumbling. The swap. The revenge. The rot at the core. She listened, eyes widening.
Then laughed. God.
If only. But you're still him, just cracked open.
No.
The dissonance hit. Was I becoming him? Dawn broke bloody over the skyline. Phase 3. The endgame. But as I stared at the city, my city, stolen and reclaimed, a call from Crow shattered it. Voss or Hale, the bridge is fraying. Choose now.
Choose.
The word hung, heavy as chains. The choice gnawed at me like a bad investment, reversible bridge. Crow's voice crackling over the encrypted line, promising a swap back if I played lab rat one last time. Data for freedom, he said, dangling my old body like a carrot. But freedom? Lily's voice echoed from that foster call. Mommy? Is it really you? No bars could hold that hope. Yet Victor's life clung like tar. The power, the penthouse view, the ease of bending the world to your will. By noon, the headlines had metastasized. Hale empire crumbles, SEC raids imminent, and Harlan's resignation letter hit my desk. A white flag in Times New Roman. I drove to the prison upstate, the Bentley devouring miles like guilt. Irony bit deep, me. In his skin, signing in as family visitor. The guard smirked. Victor Hale. Slumming it. My old cell block loomed, razor wire glinting under watery sun. They wheeled me, him and Margaret Voss,
hollow-eyed,
jumpsuit hanging loose on a frame whittled by despair. Our eyes met through plexiglass, and for a split second, I saw myself, the defeat, the fire banked to embers. But his, Victor's, gaze burned with feral hate. You bitch, he mouthed, voice muffled. Give it back. We talked in circles, accusations.
Please.
I built this, he hissed. You are nothing, a clerk with a sick kid. Nothing. The word landed like a sucker punch. You used her, I shot back. Voice his but tone pure Margaret, Queen's grit. My mom's death. Lily's bills. Leverage for your con. He laughed.
Bitter.
And you destroy it all? For what, vindication? You're no better.
Was I?
The feds raid that morning. Board members in cuffs. Carla singing like a canary. His empire.
Ash.
But the cost? Elena's bags packed by the door. A post-it. Can't love a stranger. Lily's trust fund anonymous no more. Social services sniffing. Driving back. Rain lashed the windshield. Wipers slapping like judgment. Crow waited at a nondescript clinic in the Bronx, strip mall facade hiding neural voodoo. Decision time, he said, electrodes glinting under harsh fluorescence. I hesitated, the room spinning. Flash, Lily's first steps. Victor's boardroom conquests. Power or purity? Do it, I whispered. The machine hummed. Bridges burning. Waking was disorientation, cold tile under my palms. My palms, scarred from kitchen knives and prison brawls. Mirror, Margaret Voss.
Gaunt but mine.
Victor stirred in the adjacent bay, groaning as his kingdom slipped away. Crow monitored, impassive. Stable. But the data. I ignored him, grabbing scrubs, bolting into the night. Cops? Feds? They'd come. But I'd be ready, the contingency file. Copied to a dead drop. My insurance. The twist hit like vertigo. A voicemail from Ruiz. Timestamped an hour ago. MS. Voss, Margaret. We've got new evidence. The cert? It wasn't Hale. It was you.
What?
I played it twice. Heart slamming. The drive. Had I missed something? Racing to the penthouse. Key still in my purse from the swap, Crow's souvenir. I hacked Victor's safe again. There. Amid the dregs, another file. Red herring. My sig. Real, not forged. A memo in my handwriting. Victor, move the funds. For Lily's treatment.
No.
Flashes. That night. Mom's vigil. Victor's office. Merlot blurring edges.
He'd offered help. I'd. Signed?
Desperation's a blindfold. The cancer bills. Lily's fevered cries. I'd skimmed. Just a little. Thinking he'd cover.
Bury it.
He didn't. He amplified. Framed me to protect himself. But the seed? Mine. The betrayal reversed. I'd pulled the trigger. He loaded the gun. Sick. Staggering. I confronted him at the station house. Feds hauling him in. Cuffs glinting. You knew, I spat. Ruiz parting the crowd. Victor's grin. Bloody from a resisting arrest elbow. Knew what? Mags? That you trusted the wrong shark. He leaned in, breath hot. We were partners. You fell, I swam. Partners. The word curdled. I'd gambled my soul for a fix. And he'd cash the chips. Trial redux me. Testifying in my own defense. Voice steady under lights that hummed like accusations. The file exposed it all, mutual ruin. A dance of desperation and deceit. Charges dropped for me. Victor's mounted fraud. Perjury. The works. Lily came home that spring. Her hug a lifeline. But the scar tissue lingered. Trust's a luxury I couldn't afford. Epilogue months on. Victor and Supermax. Appeals drying up like bad ink. I rebuilt in Brooklyn, accounting firm for nonprofits. Lily's laughter echoing off brownstone walls. Elena? She wrote once. He was always empty. You filled it. Briefly. Crow vanished. Funding ghosted. But nights. Staring at the skyline. I wonder, did I win? Or just trade one cage for another? Revenge is a mirror, shatters on impact. Cuts deepest the hand that wields it. America. Land of second chances? Maybe for some. For sharks like us? Just sharper teeth. And that one file they missed? It exposed everything starting with me.